Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, or to my channel if you are new. I woke up this morning with dirty hair, a desire to put on nothing but a hoodie, and a full face of luxury makeup because that is the definition of me. You will rarely find me out of jeans or leggings and big sweatshirts and hoodies and sweaters, but I like to have good makeup, and sometimes just a full face of luxury is what I'm in the mood for. So that is what I'm doing today. I picked out some of my current favorites that I have been using a lot lately, some of which I haven't even talked about, despite the fact that I've had them for 6 months. So I wanted to put a full look together, and this is it. If you want to see what I have been loving, let's jump in. We begin with base. I think I'm gonna do base first. And I got this foundation in June. Don't ask me why I have not talked about it, because I love it. Obviously, it's gonna come up again in my roundup of 2024 foundations. It's coming up in the next 1 to 2 weeks, and I do rate them in that video. This one's gonna have a pretty high rating. This is from Clé de Peau, and it is the Radiant Cream Foundation. This is an SPF 25. I never rely on my foundations for SPF. So I do have one on today, which I always link down below. I get asked a lot what SPF I have on. It's always in the description box. And today it is Numbuzin number 1 is what it says it is. It is a cream foundation. It is not overly radiant. I am in the shade B30. It is thicker in texture, which lends to the cream. It's a liquid / cream. I mean, if it was a true cream, it would not be in a squeeze bottle, but it definitely is thicker than, you know, your typical liquid. And how I like to apply this is dot it on and then rub it out with my fingers a little bit, because it is a little bit thicker. I mean, look at how pretty that is. You don't need a lot, and I feel like doing it this way, I use less actually than I would if I was using a brush for 100% of application. I mean, very, very, very small amount of product. I don't love a squeezy tube for a foundation. I've said this, I don't know how many times, because I can't control how much product, and a lot of times I waste it. But I have learned the more that I use this, the less product I need to put on my hands before applying it. Oh, it's so pretty. I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. And if I feel the need to take whatever is left on my hand and add a little bit more coverage, it is more buildable, but this is a pretty solid medium to full coverage foundation on me on first application. I did not get an O shade, which is ochre and more like yellow and warm. And I honestly had not seen any of these in store. I purchased it online at Nordstrom, and I was happy with the color choice, because even though B's say they're more rosy, to me, it is just more neutral. Like, it doesn't have a ton of yellow in it, and it ended up working great. You need the smallest amount, and it is so, so pretty on the skin. I don't know that have I talked about this on camera? I'm not quite sure. I've had it since September when it launched. The Victoria Beckham concealer pen. I got the shade light medium 1, and it was way darker than I anticipated it being for a light medium shade. It looked honestly like more tan when I first swatched it. I contemplated sending it back and trying to get an exchange, but then I wore it and I was like, you know what, I can make it work. And it is a very pretty concealer. It is in a click pen. Hopefully you'll be able to see how dark this is. And the reason I wanted to use this was because I do like it. It is luxury. And also, I wanted to let anyone know that maybe is thinking about getting this to really look for swatches and possibly go 1 to maybe even 2 shades lighter than you think you would be, because of how dark this runs, at least for this shade. So I just put tiny little bit in the corner where I am the darkest, and then I'm going to use the leftover to blend it out. And when I apply this, I can tell, like looking in a mirror, yeah, it's darker. It's darker than my foundation, but once everything is applied, it ends up working out. Now, because it is a little bit darker than I would typically get for a concealer, I have used this on top of like a tinted SPF, or even not a tinted SPF on a day where I really wanted super light coverage just to cover my redness, and it's worked out that way too. But it's not a ton of product, so I wouldn't recommend necessarily buying it for that purpose only. I'm gonna use a cream blush today. I do think I've used this on camera before, and y'all, it's become one of my all-time favorite cream blushes in my entire collection. There's something so special about this formula and color. It's from Clé de Peau, and it is the cream blush in the shade number 4. I had seen this on quite a few videos and quite a few social media posts of people raving about how beautiful it was, and I'm like, it's a cream blush. Can it really be that pretty? And it really can. I can't explain why. It is like, it's not a shimmery, it doesn't have shimmer in it, but because of the nature of cream blush, it is a little bit more of a radiant finish than obviously a matte powder blush would be. But I think it's the ease of application for this. Like, I honestly can just build it up and build it up, and it's never gonna feel like it's too much. The color goes with everything, despite being a little pinky in the pan, and I think maybe even the shade name has peach in it, if I'm correct. It's really not strong pink or peach. It kind of falls in the middle, which to me means that I can use it with anything. Any eye color, any lip color. It's just so good. Definitely. And I have a lot of cream and liquid blushes that I love, do not get me wrong, but this is my favorite discovery this year for cream blush. So good. I have been setting my face in a 2-step system lately, which seems excessive, but it's really been working for me. I take a powder puff and some kind of loose powder, and typically it's either my Chanel loose powder, which is one of my favorites. In fact, I'm very, very low on it. If you can see, I kind of need to repurchase now before I forget, or my Huda Beauty powder. The Chanel powder though is just a staple for me. It's the one that I'm using in all of my foundation roundup demos. And I like to use that just on my T-zone where I really don't want to get shiny. I'm not oily skinned by any means, but I'm not overly dry right now either. So sometimes the middle of my face can get shinier than I want it to. So pressing some kind of loose powder like that into my T-zone, and then using a more, not radiant finish, but definitely not matte finish, press powder on the rest of my face has just been a go-to for me. This is the Chanel Healthy Glow Sheer Powder in the Le Beige range, and this is in B20. And then I will just use that to kind of set the rest of my face. I'm not gonna go over that blush. I don't wanna take away that pretty sheen, but underneath my cheeks, top of my forehead, and then a little bit on my neck. I just have been liking the combination of 2 powder formulas like that. It's been working nicely. Now this blush has the most gorgeous sheen to it. I honestly don't even know if I need a separate highlighter. I don't think I do. I was going to use my Victoria Beckham, what is this? It's just the stick highlight in the shade Pearl, which is very similar in, you can see, formula to the Merit Balms, the Westman Atelier stick. The Chanel sticks are a little bit less tacky than this in the Westman Atelier. But honestly, I mean, I don't think I need any. This is another reason I love this blush so much. I haven't done bronzer yet, so let's definitely dip into one of my favorite luxury bronzers of all time. In fact, I see pan in it and I need to repurchase the Sicily Phyto Touche Sun Glow Bronzing Gel Powder. It's just gorgeous. I do find, because of the nature of its formula, it's more of like a baked gelée, that I like it better with a little bit of a denser brush and stamping it in. I've talked about in a couple of my previous videos how with some of my bronzers lately, I have been really just dusting them on. But for this to get the pigment that I like out of it and the opacity that I prefer out of this particular product, I like using a dense brush. And you can see it brought a little bit of sheen back into that area after I had set it, but it's not too much. Because this has sheen in it as well, is another reason I should probably skip highlight today and let the other products on my skin do the job of radiance, which I think they're doing a pretty good job of. So that is it for complexion. Let's start on the eyes. I am going to be using two products, one from Sicily, a liquid eyeshadow, and one from YSL, a quad. These YSL quads, I think I discovered them in 2024. So good. I have 3 of them now. But let's start out with the Sicily. This is the, I don't have my glasses. I feel like I've turned into my mother. Ombre Eclat liquid eyeshadow, and this is in the shade number 3. I think the shade is called Pink Glow. And I'm just going to use this kind of as a base for my lid shade, but also just to show you how pretty this is on its own. I've really been back to my like one and done shadow phase lately. I was on it for so long, and then I got off for about 2 months and started doing, 2 or 3 shades. I don't ever do a ton. And now I'm just kind of back to that like wash of color, which this would be perfect for. They do dry down nicely and stay for a very long time. And this pink gold color is very, very pretty. Right up my alley when it comes to the type of colors that I choose for liquid shadows. Now this particular quad is in this shade number 100, which I believe is called Sora Dolls. Sora, let me look it up so I don't say it wrong. Stora Dolls. I was close. And it is just a very pretty, cool toned, pinky, gray. I still think I want it to be kind of along the same shade. So I'm going to take this like pink matte shade right here on my refer number 1 and tap it on top. And you're probably thinking, why are you tapping a matte shade on top of that pretty Sicily shadow? Shimmer from that is still coming through a little bit. This is just gonna kind of set it down, and honestly, I don't know why I'm doing it. It's just because I want to. Y'all do your eyeshadow how you want to. No rhyme or reason for mine half of the time. And then I do think I'm gonna take just a little bit. I'm gonna take a little bit of a skinnier brush. This is the Refer 14. Yeah, just the 14. And I'm gonna take this kind of grayish brown shade down here and lightly dust it into my crease. I do not want a blown out shade. I just want a little bit of definition on top of that pink. And then I'm gonna take the topper, like grayish, just kind of lightly continue to top my lid. Never can have too many layers. And then I'm gonna take that same kind of grayish brown and just lightly dust it underneath. I'm gonna do eyeliner on the top, but not on the bottom. So this is just kind of the only shadow that I'm gonna use underneath. And then for liner, I got the green liner from Victoria Beckham in Olive. If you don't know, green is my favorite color. I love a green eyeliner. I have one from Dior that I can't find. I've used it on camera and I love that one too, and I cannot find it. But this one is like in Victoria Beckham fashion, very, very, very pigmented and darker than my Dior one. So if you have the Dior green eyeliner, this is much darker. It's more of a hunter green, where that one is more emerald, in my opinion. And I sure wish I could find it. Kind of like I wish I could find the brush I'm looking for. Here it is. All right, so I'm going to roughly line about the outer half of my lash line, and then just take a brush, this is the Sephora 18, and smoke it out, and then also bring it in a little bit. The reason I don't go all the way in to start with is because then when I smoked it out, it would be too much. It would be too high, too much liner in that inner corner for what I'm wanting. So when I can bring it in from the outer to the inner, from the existing product, it's just the right amount. Hopefully that makes sense. I make so much sense in my head. And then when I like speak the words that I'm thinking, I'm like, maybe that didn't make as much sense as I thought. I love pinks and greens. I love green all by itself, but especially love using a green liner when there's like a shade of pink on my lids. For mascara, my 2 favorite luxury mascaras are the Chantecaille Longest Lash Faux Cils and the Chanel Volume de Chanel. And that has not changed in years. I have tried a lot of other luxury mascaras. I like them, but I don't like them as much as those two. I talk about and use those two quite a bit, especially the Chantecaille. So I thought that I would go into my sample stash and try out another one. This is the YSL Lash Clash Mascara. I have used this one other time, but this is the wand. And I'm just going to build up 2 coats of this on my lashes and we'll see how it looks. Okay, so this is definitely a more volumizing mascara than it is lengthening. I don't really feel like it gave me much length at all, which is fine because sometimes the goal is volume. It just doesn't, for me, give me both. And for lips, to finish off the makeup, I'm using my Armani Lip Power in 102, which is just the perfect nude for me. I like these because they are moisturizing. They have a little bit of a sheen. I don't feel the need to put any kind of gloss on top of it. It's coming off more nude on the viewfinder than it is in real life, but it's nude. Let's be real. It's a nude lip. And then finally, I felt like, you know what? I may be sporting a hoodie with some dirty hair, but this luxury makeup full face is making me feel a little sophisticated. So I'm gonna pull out one of my most sophisticated inducing, is that the word? It's the perfume in my collection, one of them that makes me feel the most sophisticated when I wear it, and that is YSL Libre. This is actually YSL Libre Intense, which I like a lot better than the original YSL Libre. I don't know how you say it, quite honestly. But this is a heavenly lavender based scent, which I typically do not like at all. But I'm telling you, it just screams, I have my act together. It is soft, but also powerful. It's really hard to explain. It does have orange blossom and jasmine in it, so it's like a lavender white floral, but then the dry down has tonka bean and vanilla, which makes it like a little warmer and a little sweeter as it dries down. But it is just, this screams woman to me. I love it so much, especially for it being a lavender-based scent. So that's it. That is my full face of luxury favorites at the moment. Hopefully you enjoyed. I will have everything listed and linked down below per usual. I do use affiliate links, so thank you in advance if you choose to use them and help support my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure and like and subscribe before you leave so you don't miss out on any future videos. And I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day.